This is Primetime Sports, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, WGNSSports.com, Big G TV, streaming video, and always at the game. The game. It's Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees. We'll take a look back at last week's big games and get you ready for the weekend ahead. Local prep sports, MTSU, UT, and Vandy football, the Titans, and much more. Now let's join the Primetime Sports team right here on WGNS and Big G TV.
All right, good evening, everybody. Clark Blair in the house with Primetime Sports, sponsored by, as he mentioned, Ideas Tees. Danny Brewer's here, and Rod Perfect Picker Edwards is here tonight. Perfect.
Unbeaten and unblemished.
Man.
I think his wife describes him as perfect sometimes.
He just about went perfect a couple weeks ago.
Are you kidding me?
Well, that's going to be debatable tonight. Good thing John Dinkins isn't here because he'd have a few words about that. Rod, I kind of feel like.
He always has words.
He always has words. Yes, he does. He does. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, even though my mama told me not to talk about it, we're going to talk about whether we're going to jump on the Titan ship or we think it's the Titanic tonight. We're going to talk baseball. Playoffs are around the corner. We've got some baseball trivia to see if the boys know what they know about baseball. Of course, we'll talk Vandy, undefeated Vandy. We'll talk about high school, of course, and big games tomorrow out on WGNS radio coming up. Can the Oakland Patriots go down? And it's up to the Blackman Blaze this week to see if that could possibly happen. Each and every week, our show is brought to you by Ideas Tees. It is the place in Rutherford County for school spirit wear, screen printing, embroidery, specialty items, and more. Visit them at 111 East MTCS Road, right across from the school off Memorial. You can also shop for your officially licensed MTSU Blue Raider gear from Raider Tees. Tees, polos, hats, and more are at their showroom. Ideas Tees can put your logo on just about anything. Stop by and see how they can help promote your favorite team, workplace, or organization. Learn more at ideastees.com, and we're going to learn more about high school fall sports right after this break.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
The frustration many are feeling is real and justified. Kenneth Barrett said that after the county commission denied raises for deputies this year, and as sheriff, fair pay will be a top priority.
We need to figure out how we can get ours comparable to other agencies and start communication with the county commission to try to get less steps at a higher percentage.
With nearly 30 years at the sheriff's office, Barrett brings servant leadership, accountability, transparency, and fairness. Learn more at KennethBarrettForSheriff.com.
Paid for by Kenneth Barrett for Sheriff, J.M. Stewart Treasurer.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Auctions are easy, fast, and profitable.
Whether you're buying or selling a home or commercial property, the auction is just so much easier, quicker, smoother.
My wife and I sold our personal home. Parks Auction helped us with that. The house brought about 20% more than we were going to ask for.
Visit parksauction.com.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Clark's Auction Company, committed to auction excellence.
Told it to you, 27.5. With the service you get from State Farm, you might think our car insurance costs more. I'm State Farm agent Andy Wama. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me show you with discounts up to 40%. You may find it even costs less.
So what if your roommate decides to microwave a metal mixing bowl and sets your apartment on fire? I'm State Farm agent Alex Williams. Auto, renters, frankly any kind of insurance, I've got your back. Call me at 615-898-1150.
At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we're committed to providing local car owners with top-notch auto repair services. With over 2 decades of experience, our ASC certified master technicians are experts in both foreign and domestic vehicles, ensuring accurate diagnosis and timely, cost-effective repairs. From oil changes to major engine and transmission repairs, we've got the cure for your car. Dr. Automotive, keeping your car running smoothly mile after mile. Visit our website, smyrnaautorepair.com.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019 100.5, 1450 WGNSSports.com and Big G TV.
All right, we're back. We're going to start off talking about fall sports. Golf is the lead off tonight, taking the tee there. 12 teams are still alive for the TSSAA Golf State Tournament in Sevierville. There are 6 teams with the girls. That's Rockville, their first ever championship in 8AA. Central Magnet, which Rod mentioned, that's their what?
This is the 4th time they won the district in a row, and they're shooting for number 4 in the region, which will be sometime after today.
Well, that's good for Central Magnet. My PE teacher, her husband's the coach at Central Magnet, but I'm not sure Clay can play golf. He's probably about as good as I am, which is terrible.
He's got some McFadden influence, though, right?
He's got some McFadden influence, yeah. Eagleville, they are 11A champions. PCA in District 2, Single A are champions. And then Siegel and Blackman girls finished 2nd and 3rd to qualify for region play. On the boys' side, Stewart's Creek, Blackman, Riverdale. Blackman was the District 8AA champion. Siegel came in 3rd. Central Magnet boys also qualified, coming in 3rd in their district, and as well as Eagleville. So congratulations to all those teams. Regional tournaments are coming up very soon. Central Magnet was supposed to play today, but the course was too wet. And so teams trying to qualify for the state tournament. Moving over to cross country, middle school had their championship over at Rockville High School. Boys team champion, Central Magnet. Girls team middle school champion was Stewart's Creek. Congratulations to those teams. Soccer is winding down. This is the last night of district play. Huge game tonight over at Oakland. Not Siegel versus Oakland. And then, of course, Riverdale and Blackman play tonight, too. Rockville will either be the second or third seed, depending on the outcome of the Oakland-Siegel game. An Oakland win or tie will give them the top seed. A Siegel win will give them the top seed. So, I mean, that game over there tonight at Siegel is huge. What's funny, though, looking at the district standings, Oakland's sitting on top. Riverdale's on the bottom with 1 district win. They beat Oakland early, which was such a surprise.
Right. And makes you wonder, it's not going to be a year for Oakland, but look what happened.
Yeah, they got hot, and they're on top right now, depending on what happens tonight. The soccer tournament begins October 14th over at Rockville High School. District 7 AAA has another week of district action. Stewart Creek sitting on top. Stewart's Creek women's soccer have won 27 straight district games.
They have fantastic leadership over there. I'm going to tell you that. And I say that because I know the coach. She's very dedicated, and she does a great job with that program.
Hasn't lost since September of 22. All right, moving on to volleyball. District play also ends tonight. Blackman's over at Rockville. Oakland's over at Siegel. A Siegel win over Oakland will give Siegel the top seed for volleyball in the district tournament. An Oakland win and a Blackman win tonight causes all kinds of problems.
Chaos. Yeah.
Chaos. 3-way tie. 6-2. Head-to-heads even because they all split with one another. So I guess it's a coin flip after that.
You know, I'm not sure how they do it in soccer because, I mean, is it like goal differential or whatever? I don't know much about it.
I don't know. Well, it's volleyball, so I don't know how you do.
Yeah, volleyball. I don't know how you do point differential, whether it be like score or whatever.
Number of games you won by. I do not know. That tournament's coming up in October 3rd through the 5th next week at Oakland High School. Other teams are playing, but it's during the fall break. And so good luck to all those teams. Guys, take a look. We've got some different fall sports people we want to look at. Pick out somebody. Tonight, we want to notice that every game has someone who provides a foundation for success. So look at your sheets and find us a SRM, that's Smyrna Ready Mix, concrete solid performer. Rod, you got one?
I got Jonathan Jordan of the Eagleville Eagles football, and he's the two-way player. In the game that they won last week, he had 9 carries for 130 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, 10 tackles, and a sack. That's quite a combination.
And I was at that game. He was all over the place.
All over the place. I'm going to talk about Mia McGrath of Siegel. She had 11 kills and 4 blocks. So that means she's doing it offensively and defensively. How about it, Mia McGrath?
All right, for volleyball. And I'll jump over to soccer then. Micaiah King, hope I said that right, Miss King, scored the lone goal in a 1-win over Blackman, but that's also thanks to McKenna Sailing, who was in goal and led the shutout. All those players, again, get recognition for being the Smyrna Ready Mix Concrete solid performers, locally grown, nationally known Smyrna Ready Mix Concrete. All right, so that's all the fall sports stuff I got. So winding down, trying to get some champions here. Good luck again to all sports teams. All right. It's the section for Danny horsing around. Now, you talked last week about Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, Pennsylvania Derby. Baeza. We talked about how small was his bubbles in his moonshine. They were pretty daggum small because he won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Baeza. Thrilling moment for John Sheriff's his trainer. John Sheriff's campaigned a horse called Zenyatta, the greatest female runner potentially ever. She won 19 of 20 races, won her first 19 starts. She got beat by nose in the Breeders' Cup in 2009, and it was heartbreaking. And so, anyway, that was her only loss for her career. But this was, he said, one of his highlights of his training life, because Baeza has been this horse that, he's good. He just doesn't do it in the afternoons, meaning at race day. Man, he'll run great for part of the race, and you think, all right, and then it's, oh no. But he put it all together last Saturday. So hats off to Baeza, them small bubbles, 150 proof. Yeah, buddy. This Saturday is a huge day in the sport. I mean, huge. We got stakes races all across the country. 5 stakes races at Belmont Park. Joe Hurst Turf Classic Grade 1, the Gallant Bloom. Then you got Churchill Downs. My boy Mystic Dan is running in the Lucas Classic there. He's running. It's going to be a pretty stacked up field. Rattle and Roll, his stablemate's in there also. They're also running at Santa Anita. We got a huge day there. The Goodwood Stakes. Sunday is the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. We've got the next few weeks will be really, really big because it's built up to the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup is the last Friday and Saturday, last Friday in October 31st, and then November 1st.
And you're going to be there.
God willing, I'll be there. And so, you want to space your races out. You want usually 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 weeks in between races. So these next 2 weeks are really huge. Next weekend is opening weekend at Keeneland. And so, that's the place to be there for sure. So, but anyway, the next 2 weeks, super, super exciting in the sport, build up to the Breeders' Cup. Hey, you know what they say, back a horse and get paid.
Well, did you put any money on those bubbles?
I did, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had Baeza. He keyed my late pick 3, and we also had him across the board. And, I had put him with a horse called Gosger that I was hoping to hit the exacta, but that didn't quite pan out. Gosger, he's my boy too, but he just didn't quite run as well as I thought he would. But no, keyed my late pick 3 with Baeza, which was really good. And then also, like I said, had a nice little across-the-board bet on him.
All right.
But, hey, I want to know, in that race in Pennsylvania, did they have any good Philadelphia fillies in that race?
They did in the Cotillion.
Okay,
that was the fillies race before that. A horse called Cliquot. She's named after Champagne, trained by my buddy Brendan Walsh, who's from Cork, Ireland, and she won it. She's now got 4 wins and 5 career starts. So yes, there were some good Philadelphia fillies there.
It's good to have some homegrown talent.
Well, and none of them were Pennsylvania bred, so don't get me wrong there, Rod. None of them were Pennsylvania breds, but there have been some pretty good Pennsylvania breds. One was named Smarty Jones. He won the Kentucky Derby in 2004. Smarty Jones, what a horse!
I thought Rod was throwing you a trick question with his baseball background.
He was trying to.
The Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah. I thought he was going. No, there was no Steve Carltons, nobody like that. Okay, so I was just waiting for that.
And there was another Pennsylvania bred that Princess of Sylmar. She won the Kentucky Oaks a few years back. So yes, there have been some good Philadelphia fillies.
Good. Or I'll tell you somebody hasn't won yet, and we know who they are. Sorry, Mama, you said not to talk about them. It's the Tennessee Titans. We're 0-3. I went through different things. I tried to do my research, read back on the games and stuff. Everything's the same thing again. Frustration, accountability, more losses, more booing. My son went I said, did you boo? He goes, yeah, I booed. I booed at halftime about the botched field goal and the timeouts.
Well, I think that as a fan, that's part of the reason why you pay your money, and that's why you go to the game, is so that you can voice your opinion. And if you buy your ticket, you've got your right. Now, you don't want to be obnoxious, and you don't want to be, overbearing on someone else that's sitting next to you or below you or whatever. But that's part of the reason why you pay the money that they charge for those tickets. I think for what you pay, you daggum got your right to voice your opinion when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, and if you don't want to get booed, play better.
And you could hear it on TV. I don't know if you watched it, Rod. You could hear it.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of the game because every time I looked at it looked terrible. I'm not going to waste my time today.
Well, I mean, Cam threw a pick the first minute of the game. You could hear the crowd go, oh, and it was on from there.
Yeah.
In the loss, they recognized Mike Keith at halftime in the Ring of Honor. Nolan said it went from a bunch of boos. And then the team president came out and the boos continued. And then as soon as Mike Keith walked up to the podium, cheers. He goes, that's about the only cheers we heard Sunday.
Well, unfortunately, I think they're just not very good right now. And that, teams go through cycles. You hope that they can bounce out of it. But right now, they're just not very good.
Well, and the question on Sports Talk, questions out of people's mouths, do we keep our coach? Is it time for Callahan to go already? He's 3, I believe, in 17 as a coach. That's not a good record.
Yeah, I think his big mistake he made, he should not have taken the offensive coordinator because this is the first time head coach. And in fact, he was an offensive coordinator, but he did not call the plays in Cleveland. No, I'm sorry, Cincinnati. Both of those things were new jobs, and the head coach has got to manage everything, and too many distractions, and you don't know if he can handle it or not to get a flow of a game. Making a plan for the whole program before they go out, but the ones calling the plays, they got to get a rhythm. They got to get a feel for the game, what's opening up, what works off of what.
So him giving up those play calling duties, smart move or make you look desperate, make you look like I can't do this job?
Well, it'll keep his job to the rest of the year anyway.
Well, I think that you've got to do something. And hats off to him for that.
Yeah.
He's trying to do something. You can't continue to do the same things over and over again and expect different results, because I think they call that insanity. So you have to be able to make changes, and whether they're good or bad, all that is speculative and judgment calls and all that stuff, but at least you're trying something different. So, hey, hats off to him for that.
All right, one change that was made this week. The Tennessee Titans traded second-year cornerback Jarvis Brownlee to the Jets for a 6th-round pick. The Titans had to give up Brownlee in the 7th-round pick. Kind of I don't know if that was an even swap or not. I mean, how much more of a, you pick number, 180 versus 240. How much did you really gain there?
Right. It makes you wonder if there was some issue. Now, I know he has a terrible problem with penalties. Maybe he doesn't listen. I don't know, but a young kid, give him a chance. But you don't know. You have to be in the situation. I don't know what's going on.
Callahan said the things are made like these decisions are made for short-term and long-term interests of the football team. And you hear everything, whether you're looking at Sports Talk or online or reading a newspaper anymore. Somebody's going to be critical. Questions about his attitude came up. Was he a cancer in the locker room? The problem is about cancer in the locker room, it's easier to be a good teammate when you're winning.
No, without question,
It's easy to be a cancer when you're losing.
You find out what you're made of when things aren't going right. That's what I would always tell, my baseball and basketball teams also, their coach. Hey, when we're up, everything's unicorns and rainbows. But when we're down, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Then that's when you determine who you really are, when things aren't going good.
It's going to be really interesting the next couple of weeks. We're on the road 3 straight games. We go the Texans, and you know how the Titans, especially Amy Adams-Strunk, would hate to lose to the Texans. The Texans are 0-3. Somebody's going to get a win. And then we go to Arizona and Vegas. Then we come home. Let's say Callahan survives, even at 0-6, which is what people are predicting. Our next home game, Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. How much patience does Amy Adams-Strunk have if she loses to the Texans and loses to the coach she just fired before the one she just hired?
You know, I think that some of this stuff boils down to, you know, front office decisions and all that. You know, I've been watching that Netflix thing about the Cowboys. Have y'all seen that?
No, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, it's very interesting and very. It sheds a light on it. And I talked to a Cowboys fan because I'm not really a pro football fan, but definitely not a Cowboys fan. Never have been. But he said, you know, the bad thing about the Cowboys, everybody knows who the owner of the Cowboys is. You know, you can walk down the street and ask a casual fan, hey, who's on? They may not know who the owner of the Baltimore Ravens is or who the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals is, but everybody knows who the owner of the Cowboys is. He said, and that's our problem. So there's times when you have to let football people make football decisions, and I agree with this guy. I don't like to be judgmental, but you know, I think Jerry Jones is kind of he's the big reason the Cowboys haven't been to the Super Bowl in decades and haven't won a playoff game in decades, probably, or decade at least, right? So I think you have to know your strengths, stay in your lane, let the people who know how to make those decisions make those decisions. So, you know, is that what's going on with the Titans and we got people making decisions that shouldn't be? I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say, but we have to stay in our lane. You know, if you're a good math teacher, don't try to coach somebody on English. You know, I mean, that's just kind of how it is, right? As an educator, wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely. All right, we got to stay in our lane with time. We're going to take a break, come back, talk baseball.
Since 1966, Fans Heating and Air has been a symbol of quality for Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. For friendly, complete service on Amana, Bryant, or American Standard heating and air products, Fans will do it all. Sell you your choice of products and then install it with their factory-trained, experienced, professional staff. In the unlikely event you need service, Fans will be there with trained technicians. Fans Heating and Air is located on Jayhawk Court. Call 615-893-7930. Fans Heating and Air.
We're at Rick's Barbecue on Warrior Drive, where, of course, they've got barbecue and smoked chicken, ribs, but they have other favorites.
Our chicken tenders are delicious. We bread them here ourselves. We have so many different kinds of sides, and our nachos are really good and popular. I love the menu. I could literally eat here every day.
Anne-Marie Brent's at Rick's Barbecue.
We're thankful for the customers. We have a lot of regulars, loyal customers that come in, and when they come in, I already know their order.
Bet you're hungry now. We'll see you at Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
If you're a homeowner with a quarter acre or several, Las Casas Feed Supply focuses on premium feeds and dog foods you won't find in the box stores.
Nutrition is our specialty here at Las Casas Feed.
Family owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, inviting you to stop by, visit, and enjoy the country.
Customer service and expertise that exceeds your expectations.
Las Casas Feed is also your place for local milk from the MTSU Dairy on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East in Las Casas. Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
People love to see us on the schedule when they have a home game because our fans show up.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
The way we travel is just phenomenal. Our parents and our community are fully engaged in our school. When we compete, we're trying to do it in a way that honors God. We want to win. We also want to do it in a way that pleases Him.
Providing Christian values and academic excellence in a nurturing environment. That's Middle Tennessee Christian School. Invest in the future of your child. Find out more at mtcscougars.org.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Experts in joint, bones, and muscles. And with over 65 specialists, TOA has a playbook to get you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019 100.5, 1450 WGNSSports.com and Big G TV.
All right, we're back. We're going to move to baseball for a minute. Rod, can you believe it? Technically, your Cardinals and my Reds are still in it with 3 games to play.
Yeah. If we win all 3 and all 3 teams ahead of us lose all 3, then we can get in.
Okay. So the Reds actually got on a little winning streak last week, and I think the Mets were losing a little bit. It's like, let's see what happens. And then we lost 2 at home to the Pirates.
Yes,
2.
Skeens won that game. I saw Skeens and Green.
To the Pirates.
It was a good
Just killing me.
pitching matchup, though.
Killing me. So, if you're still a baseball fan, even though most of your Braves fans out there in this area, Phillies, Brewers, Cubs, Dodgers, and Padres pretty much for the NL. Right now, only Toronto, New York, and Seattle and the AL have clinched a playoff berth. What the Reds need is for the Mets to lose all their games to the Marlins. Then we've got to sweep the Brewers in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Now, does Milwaukee still have the best record in the National League?
I believe so.
Yes.
I believe so. So we talked about this young man last week, Cal Riley, Seattle.
Right.
He entered a very unique club, 60 home run club.
Yeah, there aren't many in that club, are there?
How many are there? Do you know, Rod? Take a guess.
Let's see. 1, 2. Let's say 6.
He says 6. You want to go over or under?
I'm going to go over.
Over is correct. It's 7 now with Mr. Raleigh. Let's see how many y'all can name. Go ahead, Rod. You can go first. Name one.
Babe Ruth.
Ruth is the first one.
Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa did it 3 times, actually. Yes, but Sosa.
Mark McGwire.
McGwire did it twice.
Judge.
Judge did it.
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds. And you're missing
Roger Maris.
Roger Maris. Very good. There are actually, while we're at it, there's 2 members of the 70 home run club. Of course, that is
Barry Bonds
and McGwire.
McGwire. That's correct. So, 6.
They're also a member of another club, but we're not going to talk about that.
They are a member of the club. That's all right. We all know what club that is. That was part of it in baseball time. But I still say, no matter how big you are and how strong you are, you got to have an eye. And steroids don't help the eye.
Without question. Here's the thing that I say, how it helped Barry Bonds' recovery. I mean, because he was, 40, 39, 38, 39? When you think about the grind of Major League Baseball, that was how the steroids helped him, because he was always a great hitter and always had a great eye and all that stuff. It's just that his recovery, his body didn't break down, and he was able to play and continue to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest way that it helped him is just the recovery.
Yeah, just whether you look at McGwire, not so much Sosa, I didn't see as much, but then Bonds, pictures before and after. I mean, their body style just totally changed.
No, McGwire was closer because he was a big
guy. Oh, yeah,
right
always been a big guy. Always was a big guy.
In fact, he hit, before he ever started that, he hit 45 home runs.
Right, which I can say this too, as of course, I'm a lot older now, but as I got older, I got bigger too physically. So I think that some of that is your body maturing.
Right.
Of course, when you're helping it with these supplements and all that kind of stuff, it does kind of accentuate that. But some of that is just age and your body maturing, and you just getting bigger as you get older. And hopefully you don't get too big, but but never mind on that. So
well, think about it. When you actually the smartest is when you get in your 30s. The player, you're really smart. And what happens? You start losing your speed, your reflexes, your recovery.
Well, exactly. You're right. You can't recover. You can't play.
Like Danny said, this helped him recover all the time. So he actually went longer during that time when he was actually the smartest in his playing career.
Because I can say this in my beer league softball days. Because I played softball.
I was thinking softball too.
I played softball for a long time, and I was probably at my best in my mid to late 30s to early 40s. That was when I was at my best.
I actually turned into a power hitter when I got older.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because the bats helped, and that kind of a little bit too. But it was just you know how to play the game better.
Right.
You understand it better. It's just that you're bigger, your body's matured, all that kind of stuff. It's just like those race horses. The older horses usually will win against the younger horses because they're more mature, they're stronger. It's just the recovery thing. I didn't. Of course, I played a whole lot more when I was young because we played tournaments and all that stuff. Once I got older, I just played league ball and didn't worry about the tournaments, and that way because I couldn't hold up.
But when you played all day, I don't care how old you were, I got dog tired.
Of course.
Those night games, playing till midnight sometimes. Oh my gosh! But boy, I love playing softball. My wife made me quit. I was playing all the time.
You were just too good too.
I wasn't too good.
The fan mail that was clogging the mailbox.
I was playing.
You got that message too.
I was playing on 3 different leagues for a while. I was playing Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and down in Nashville.
Well, I was better than you. I was only playing on 2 leagues.
I loved it.
When I got in trouble, I had to go to 1.
So
Yeah.
I didn't ever do any Roy's though, but I knew people would do.
Well, you didn't have to.
Oh yeah, I didn't have to.
Of course, the difference is
what I got to do is move on from this conversation.
Yeah.
Got to move on this conversation. All right, baseball playoffs coming up next week, Tuesday, for those teams that are in the wild card. The regular season ends on Sunday. All right, let's move to college football real quickly. Vanderbilt, they're going to get to 5-0 unless they are overlooking Utah State. Utah State's 3-1. That's no slouch right now. Vanderbilt, why would they overlook them? Because who's next week?
It's Bama, right?
It's Bama.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Vanderbilt, let's not overlook Utah State. Vanderbilt is 12th in FBS in rushing defense, 23rd overall in defense. That doesn't get promoted enough about Vanderbilt. Everybody's talking about Pavia, and he's fantastic. 8 TDs, 2 interceptions, 74% completion percentage. He leads them in rushing with 215 yards. He's a do-it-all kind of guy. I mean, so, again, I told a person of mine, I said, I cheer for Vandy every week but one, but he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. Vanderbilt, of course, 70-21 winners over Georgia State. Tennessee picked up a win over UAB also last week, 56-24. First half was a good game. Second half was just get through it. They head down to cowbell country.
The cowbells will be ringing.
The cowbells will be ringing. I got a friend at work. She's going to be ringing her cowbell because her daughter went to school there. I said, "You're from the state of Tennessee." She goes, "Yeah, but I paid a lot of money for tuition." I said, "Well, then," because she's an Alabama fan, actually.
Oh, really?
I said, "Then drop Alabama." Well, no, I can't do that. I said, "Then you need to root for Tennessee."
Yeah.
But Tennessee, this is really their first true road test, in my opinion, because they played in Atlanta against Syracuse, and then the next 3 have been at home. So on the road, that's going to be a huge game for Tennessee. Can they handle the cowbells and the road experience Saturday?
Right, and especially when you can't hear any noise and you got to work on your signaling system.
Yeah, it's different when you're cheering for everybody to get loud for your defense, but it's different when you're the one trying to get through it. Team did not get through it. That was Middle Tennessee State. The week before, we could win in 7 minutes. Last week, we lost it in the fourth quarter. We were up 28-21, and Marshall scored 21 unanswered points. Danny, you said you talked to Coach Mason this week.
I did, and Coach has got a simple message. We look in the rearview mirror to learn, but we're moving forward. It's hammered down. We're going forward. We've still got a lot of the season's in front of us. We've still got the bulk of the conference season is in front of us. We got our own destiny in our own hands. He said they're trying to figure things out. Got 4 weeks in now. They've kind of established a little bit of an identity and trying to get all these guys on the same page. But it's still just a simple message of like I said, learn from the past. Let's get after it, and and it's really simple. And of course, all football is like this. He said we got to get off the field on third downs. On defense and offense, we want to be more aggressive. So so maybe they'll throw it around a little bit more, throw it deep a little bit more. I don't know, but they want to be more aggressive offensively. And he said we got to get off the field on third down.
He mentioned that this is the start. This was first 4 games were preseason, in his opinion, starting Conference USA games. That's an easy message to say if you start winning those games.
Oh, of course, and that's the whole thing is and that's some of what you do before you get in your conference season. Is and it's true they could go undefeated through the conference and win the conference and be in the conference championship, even though the first 4 games they were 1-3. He said we would like to be 2-2 right now. We're not. We're 1-3. So we just got to deal with it and once again move forward. We want to be headed in the forwardly direction.
They head down to Georgia to play Kennesaw State on Saturday. Kennesaw State is a 7.5-point favorite right now. Kennesaw State is 2-2 on the season. Their wins were against Merrimack and Arkansas State, coached by
Butch Jones.
Their losses came to Indiana. Indiana's been beating everybody. They're surging up the polls. And a 10-9 close loss to Wake Forest. Neither team are really offensive-minded. Kennesaw State averages a little over 18. MTSU 16.5 points per game. Not going to be an offensive fest Saturday versus Kennesaw State. It doesn't look like. But I'll tell you who is, and I'm throwing this out here, who is having an offensive thing, because I saw this week, because I used to live up there in Cookeville. Tennessee Tech. They're ranked 11th nationally and lead the FCS in scoring, averaging 60.7 points per game.
Wee, that's lighting it up there.
That's not basketball, boys. That's football.
What's changed there?
60.7. The coach that I was reading information on just talked about what every coach says. You take the players you got, you kind of work them in a system. He got a good transfer quarterback that can throw the ball around. That sure does help.
Mm-hmm.
But they're coming to Nashville, playing TSU this Saturday. It's the last meeting because Tennessee Tech's moving on to the Southern Conference instead of being in the OVC Big South this week. I just thought that was, like I said, I've been to many Tech games when I was in Cookeville watching Tech, and that 60 points is just crazy.
Oh, it is crazy for at any level.
At any level to light it up like that. Other team I want to mention real quickly is Memphis. Memphis stays undefeated.
Pulled out one against Arkansas.
Came from behind. What were they down? 18?
Something like that, yeah.
And
it was late, too.
Memphis has had a history of being really good sometimes, and then they're not so good. And they're really good, and they're not so good. So they've kind of had a little bit of a roller coaster throughout the last 20 years or so. But there's some talent in the Memphis area. We know that for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And they've been using the portal well. And like you said, they've had some good runs. They've gotten talked to be one of those, outside teams getting into the playoffs. And they always seem like they make a little stumble right there at the end because those teams got to be almost be perfect.
You do. You just about have to be undefeated because there was one year I think that they were undefeated and they went to their conference championship game and got beat.
Yeah. So good for Tech. Good for Memphis. Keep winning, guys. Good for Vandy, Dr. Sullivan. I said it out loud again. Good for Vandy. All right. So, speaking of high point scoring, and we'll get to it here in a minute after the break, we're going to talk high school football. The name of the game last Friday night pretty much was blowouts. Your blowout really surprised me.
Well, it was a case of where one team was extremely opportunistic, and that was Smyrna. And the game kind of changed drastically in the last 5 seconds of the first half.
There was 2.20. I think it was 2.22 seconds left when Smyrna scored the first touchdown. So in that period of time, they scored 21 points to the end of the half.
Yes, the blocked field goal at the end of the first half it almost sealed the deal right there because huge momentum shift, huge, and so you look at Rockville's looking at being down 14-6 and scoring going into halftime. Instead, they're down 21-3 going into the half. So
right.
big play.
Big plays. All right, we're going to talk about all last week's games, next week's games, get some shout-outs to some football players right after this break.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Rick Hall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Rick Hall take the stress out of insurance? Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
This is a paid legal ad.
I'm attorney John Day. One of our clients was operating a farm tractor when he was rear-ended by a tractor trailer. In an instant, his life was changed forever. We helped him receive the settlement that has given him financial security for the rest of his life. Now, each case is different, and we can't promise this type of result for every case. But we can promise that when you hire the law offices of John Day, we'll work hard to help you. If you think we can help, call me, John Day.
Pizza. You in a hurry for dinner? Well, we've made it even easier to order online at sirpizzatn.com. Tap the location nearest you and begin your carry-out or delivery order at sirpizzatn.com. You can choose from our full menu, and we'll take care of the rest. A Queen's Feast is calling my name. Order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com.
Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
You've heard people say, you know your work by your name, but there's no better name for residential and business concrete work than Dan France Concrete. From basic slabs to decorative stamping, for your next concrete project, call Dan France Concrete, 615-642-5152.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Trust me, Dan is committed to the community and will offer you a great product. He'll stand behind his work and make sure you're satisfied with every aspect of the work. Dan France Concrete.
Head over to J. Mullins Jewelry to check out their selection of rings, watches, custom designed jewelry, and much more. They're a local business located at 352 West Northville Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. They have gifts for all occasions, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, whatever you need, you can find it at J. Mullins Jewelry. That's at 352 West Northville Boulevard or online at mullinsjewelry.com.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019 100.5, 1450 WGNSSports.com and Big G TV.
All right, we're back talking high school football. We were talking about the Smyrna Bulldogs when we left, and they are our Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance highlight, highlighting an athlete or program who did great things. And last Friday night, the Smyrna Bulldogs we talked about just were on fire.
Oh, they had lots of kids making big plays, lots of excitement. The collars were off, and they showed their teeth and rolled up the fur on the back and all that stuff a dog does.
Rod already gave a shout out to Sakori Weathers. He had a 50-yard interception return for a touchdown and returned a blocked field goal attempt, 53 yards for a TD. Other guys that Smyrna want to mention?
Yeah, I'm a Jerry Martin fan. I mean, I'm part of the Jerry Martin fan club because the kid, he's a guy that plays in the trenches, and he's a defensive lineman. He had 12 tackles last week as a defensive line. Against Rockville, he had 4 tackles, but he blocked 2 field goals. That's an interior lineman that's bulling his way through there and getting up in the air and blocking field goals. He blocked 2 field goals last week.
And then I would go with Zeke Key, quarterback. He's second game back for this year. He was injured last year, couldn't play, and he was struggling early in the game. He wasn't getting anything. And as we mentioned, we got down to 2:22, and but Smyrna had just gone on a drive, and they scored their first touchdown. But not only did we have the big flips for defense scoring, he then controlled the game, and most of his 13 for 20 is probably 13 for 14 the last part of the game.
Right.
He was really incomplete the first 5, I think. So, and he got 183 yards, so he just kept the game under their control.
All right, congratulations to Zeke, Jerry, and Sakuri, along with the Smyrna Bulldogs. Their big 41-11 win over Rockville. That's your Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance highlight. TOA, the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic surgery group in Middle Tennessee. Find out more about them at TOA.com. Other games last week, the Riverdale Warriors jumped out on Stewart's Creek 35-0 in the first half and ended their game 35-7. Oakland 38-0. A lot of running clocks around here, folks. 38-0 over Siegel. You're not going to slow down the Oakland train, even though Blackman's going to try. Eagleville, we mentioned, I was at that game. Jonathan Jordan, Thomas Solomon, Marshall Fields, those guys are playing good. They won 38-6. PCA went down to Chattanooga, fell behind 28-0, ended up losing 28-21. Close game. They just got too far in a hole. Middle Tennessee Christian probably had the best game of the night. It was back and forth. It was tied. They won 42-35, and Blackman shut out Laverne 49-0. So, like I said, Middle Tennessee Christian, PCA had close games, but everybody else was just blowouts.
Yeah, there was lots more than what was anticipated for sure.
And you just never know.
You don't ever know.
That's why you play the game. The game's getting closer and closer to playoffs, believe it or not, again, folks. We're at week 6. Right now in the high school rankings, Eagleville is still sitting at number 6. Oakland's 1. Blackman is 6 in their group, and Riverdale is hanging on at 10. Excuse me. Guys, I gave you the overall regions and schedules and what they got left. It's really tight there with Blackman and Oakland both sitting at 2-0. The big one there is Riverdale, Rockville, Siegel at 2-1. So you got 5 teams right there for 4 spots. Big games coming up. Laverne and Stewart's Creek's probably an elimination game this week, just to be honest. Go 0-4 and you know what's going to happen. Smyrna's out of the district this week with Coffee County. We'll talk about all those games right now. So let's start, Rob. We're going to start with you. We're going to take a look at Siegel going over to Rockville. Even though Rockville's 2-3, they're sitting at 2-1 in the district, and that's all that matters right now.
And that is, because that's what's going to determine. And these are two teams that are quite a bit alike. Both are strong defense, not really explosive offensively. Both had a rough week last week, far as talk about the turnovers that Rockville had against Smyrna. Siegel had the same problem with Oakland. Oakland had a onside kick they recovered and then went in to score. They had a punt return for a touchdown, and I believe they even had I think they blocked one and recovered in the end zone. So both of them had trouble where you're on the chance to score, then you let the defense score immediately. It's almost like 14 points instead of 7 points in that situation. So they've got to get that game out, and now this one's going to determine who maybe get that fourth spot between these two and Smyrna. And probably the three fighting for that fourth spot.
One of these two are going to be 3-1
right
in the district no matter what. And somebody, either Blackman or Oakland's going to be 2-1.
Right.
I mean, it's just gonna happen. So yeah, I mean, if you win this game, you're a leg up. We mentioned 0-3 Stewart's Creek's going to Laverne. Both teams need to win bad, Danny.
Need to win bad. Of course, here's the thing about this. Rivalry game, they're neighbors, on the north end of the county. So both teams want to go 1-0 this week. It's simple. And that's really the mantra for all teams. But both teams want to go 1-0 this week. Stewart's Creek, it's a big game for them because, if they're going to have any hope at all, they got to win. And plus, they could get back to 500 to be 3-3. So as far as Laverne goes, it's huge for them because they're looking to build something down there. And what a great way to start laying a foundation by beating your neighbor, Stewart's Creek. And I think that this is pretty much of a toss-up game. I mean, I think Stewart's Creek, I would make them the favorite for sure. But, they've battled some injury, so they're kind of, trying to find the next man up for them, especially on offense for Stewart's Creek. So, can Laverne find themselves and find a way to get off the schneid? It's going to be a very interesting game down there.
Stewart's Creek just hadn't been the same since Jerry Taylor went down. They've lost all three since. Columbia comes to Riverdale tomorrow night, stepping out of regions play for the Warriors. Rod, defense has been the game. They're figuring out offense, but defense has always been solid.
But you talk about, you notice all the teams were mentioning just about how good their defenses are, how good Smyrna's is, how good Siegel's is, and then Riverdale and Oakland and Blackman, those three step it up even higher. And you're right, defense has been important, but they got to get a good running game going. They've got a good passing game going. I see where Hampton has over 1,000 yards now passing, and got several good receivers, but they've got to have the balance if you want to win the region.
Columbia comes to town. Junior quarterback Daniel Booker is leading them in both passing and rushing, dual threat quarterback. So I know Coach Kreisky and that defense will be keying on him. Coffee County comes to your place in Smyrna.
At Smyrna, a big game for the Bulldogs. I know it's not a region game, but that doesn't matter. You want to establish momentum. And how, last week's game was great, but it means nothing this week. So, you want to go 1-0 this week, and you want to build on that momentum because it looked like the light bulb came on for a few kids at Smyrna last week. Can you keep the light turned on? That's going to be the whole challenge. You can't get too caught up in what you did last week. So like I said, it don't mean nothing this week.
And we mentioned the quarterback at Smyrna. What year is he?
He's a junior. So he was the starting quarterback when they won the county freshman. They were freshman champions of Rutherford County. When he was a freshman. He broke his leg last year, so had to sit out the entire year, and then has just really gotten back to where he's 100% to play. So they started him. His first varsity start was against Siegel, and then he played last week. And like I said, the second half he looked really good. I mean, he had flashes of looking really good in the Rockville game. So that's something that Smyrna needs to build off of because they've got some players as far as talent on the outside, and I think if the passing game gets going, that will help open up their running game because they've run the football okay, but I'm with Rod. If you want to advance and you want to go somewhere, you got to run the football.
Got to run the football. But like I said, people will just stack it up and force you to throw the ball. Unless, of course, you're Oakland. I mean, Oakland makes you stop them. Eagleville, Rod, goes on the road to Richland. Eagle 1-0. They won their first district game last week. Need to pick up win number 2.
That's one. And we notice they're getting better and better as more they play. That's been their tradition. Something that they've got to win this one though because they want to get the top spot, and they really are looking good. You mentioned several people like the Jordan kid and the others that are playing well. And one thing about playing at that 1A level, you get some outstanding players that play both offense and defense that stand out, and they have several that carry that load, and they've had that for a long time.
Richland sitting at 0-1. That would, if Eagle can beat them, push them down a little bit. Then they've got, obviously Moore County, a regular power coming up next. Danny, Middle Tennessee Christian, winners last week. They're at Providence Academy, not Providence Christian. This is confusing. I had to look that up.
Right. Providence Academy, that's in East Tennessee, right?
That's
Johnson
correct.
City?
Yep.
So yeah, they're going
on
up
the road.
Yeah, they're going up Thursday. Now that's what you call on the road right there. So I think they will leave today. They or tonight or something, but they're going up today, and that way they can have tomorrow to get ready for the game. And then they'll come home tomorrow night. But big test for them. Road games like that are a big challenge because you got to stay focused because obviously we're dealing with 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. So with all the distractions of going to stay in a hotel and all that kind of stuff, so it's going to be an interesting thing. But I think Middle Tennessee Christian, they've got a great coaching staff and they've got a pretty good little football team. So we'll see how they come out.
Rod, PCA is hosting Franklin County. That just seems weird to me. It's good because it's a close game, but Franklin County, are they
5A?
5A.
I think I'm pretty sure they're 5A. They're struggling. It's going to be a tough game because you're going to play probably bigger kids than you have, but they've been pretty successful. I was very impressed with their comeback with Notre Dame. Notre Dame has had a playoff team year after year and a solid program, and it's a bigger division too. They're really division up on them, I think, and so they have a chance in this game. It's probably about 50-50.
All right, and then, of course, WGNS game of the week in the area, Oakland at Blackman. Last year's contest was as close as you could get it. Blackman was ahead. Some crazy things happened. Fumble, block, 13-12. Actually, that's the closest game it's been since, there was a COVID game, 1-0, but I don't count that.
No.
Years ago, I got all these friendly facts from our good friend Brian Barrett. The last win by Blackman was 11 years ago. Can you guess what the quarterback was at Blackman?
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings. Imagine that. Juwan Jennings, who wasn't winning a high school state championship in basketball. He was beating the Oakland Patriots. I remember that game because it was on a Sunday because ESPN covered it. It was hot. It was hot. It was early in the season. It was hot. And Oakland lost that game, but won the rematch later in the playoffs before they lost to Maryville that year, which we still can't stand Maryville. We can't stand going to Maryville. Sorry, Maryville. Just don't like you. Oakland has won 14 games in a row. The thing we've talked about Oakland, though, is they can beat you defensively, they can beat you offensively, and they can beat you with special teams.
Yes.
All three facets. This may be one of the most talented teams in the Kevin Creasy era right here, what they've got.
And that's scary to say that for everybody else.
It is scary to say that. When you combine his football intellect with all that talent. But here's the whole thing. I'll say this, too. We don't know this yet. They may be the most talented, but will they be the best team? Because last year they had a really good team. Because he didn't have near the talent last year, and they won it all. That they had in previous years. So you can have a lot of talent, but that doesn't mean you got a good team. Tomorrow night will be a big test for these guys. I've got a feeling Oakland will still be Oakland. We may see some things that we haven't seen. This would be the game to pull it out, Maybe Oakland throws the ball a little bit more than they have in the past. Who knows, You don't really know what's going to happen, but it's going to be a slugfest, that's for sure, because Blackman is very talented too. This is the biggest game at Blackman probably since the Philip Shadoan era whenever Juwan Jennings was there and Oakland came to town in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. This is probably the biggest game since the Philip Shadoan's era at Blackman.
And if you want to get there, you better get there early, right?
That's right, because I tell you what, their fans come out. I mean, the game against Cane Ridge, which you think wouldn't draw anybody, which it wouldn't. And I mean, the Blackman side was totally packed. When I walked in, I had to go over from the radio station, so I got there about 7:15, I think it was, and it was just totally packed.
It's going to be interesting to see because Oakland, they've played some quality teams, but they have not seen the quarterback that they're going to see tomorrow night with Blackman and Javian Elliott. I mean, he impressed me against Riverdale. He beat Riverdale.
Yes, he did. And it's got some good receivers. Odor and a couple of the others are good receivers. Big thing, too, both of them have good lines. And then you got to have the good line.
Yep. All right, we're going to come back, close out this show, and talk about what's happening on WGNS this weekend.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive offers complete tax preparation, financial, and bookkeeping services.
This is Brett Craig with Craig's Tax Service. From personal tax preparation to business bookkeeping, payroll, and taxes, at Craig's Tax Service, our staff is here to help.
Get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
As a former Siegel Star football player, I know the importance of the high school sports experience. Good luck to all county student athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
Looking for the best Blue Raider gear in town? Raider Tees has you covered. From stylish apparel and hats to unique MT-themed gifts and accessories, we've got everything a true Blue Raider fan needs. Whether you're headed to the game, shopping for a fellow fan, or just want to show off your Middle Tennessee pride, Raider Tees is the go-to spot. Stop by 111 East MTCS Road, right across from MTCS, and check out our unbeatable selection. Raider Tees, bigger, better, and go blue.
At Middle Tennessee Electric, we see the lines that link us all, illuminating our neighborhoods, empowering our businesses, and helping us to recharge. Because we believe in the power of good energy. Whether it comes from our grids, the sun, or a kind heart. And as your family and our region continue to grow, you can trust that we'll always be there for you. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
Is your saving for retirement strategy involving the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday"? If so, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin, and when it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side, and there's no better time than now to get started towards your retirement goals. Give us a call, Lee Colvin, at 615-907-7056. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019 100.5, 1450 WGNSports.com and Big G TV.
All right, we're going to put a wrap on this show. Tomorrow night, 6:30, Blackman football versus Oakland kicks off with Rod Edwards, John Deakins, Brian Barrett. Right before that, you can listen to Friday Night Thunder pregame show. Kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. I will be over at Riverdale checking out Columbia. You going to be in Smyrna?
Be in Smyrna, Coffee County at Smyrna. It's homecoming at Smyrna.
So you'll get updates from me and Danny on those games. Talking pigskin picks for a second. We mentioned earlier, Rod had a perfect week, which does not happen very often in pigskin picks. He is tied with Brian in first place. Bill is second. Mr. Hockenberry 1 game back. John and Danny are 4 games back. And Randy, I'm still in last. Randy's my custodian at school. He's listening probably right now. I'm last. I'm still last, Randy. I just can't get it. I did go with Franklin County over PCA, unlike everybody else. Danny went with Providence Academy over Middle Tennessee Christian. Everybody went with Eagle, Smyrna, Riverdale, Stewart's Creek, and Oakland. Danny and I think Rockville over Siegel. We all think the Vols will win. Bill and Rod went with MTSU. The rest of us went with Kennesaw State. We all believe in Vandy, and none of us believe in the Titans because we all went with the Texans. Big surprise there. On Saturday, you can listen to the Coach's Corner. I wish y'all could be here because the coaches totally aggravate one another, and it's probably the best part of the show is before the show, listening to everybody aggravate one another. I mean, they all want to win, and there's lots of rivalries going on, but they throw a few digs in. It's great. MTSU football on Saturday starting at 3:30. The road to Kennesaw State. You can listen to that here. So next Thursday is a short show because it's pre-fall break and people are playing football. But we'll be back next Thursday night. Thanks so much.